Hello and welcome back to TMS. As you can see, I have been joined by another lovely, gorgeous guest, Jaye Moni. Thank you for joining us today. You look amazing. I love your hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you feeling
me.
today?
I feel
you're
good.
welcome.
I feel good. I was out last night, but I'm feeling okay.
Did you get home late? No.
I don't even remember.
Well, Happy New Year to you, first of all. I want to say Happy New Year. Very excited for this year.
Happy New Year. It's going to be a great year.
I love that energy.
It's my year. I've been saying it like since last year. I was like, 2020 is my year. It's my year of elevation. It's your year too. I'm telling everyone around me. It's our year. It's just
absolutely. I think everyone who's like tapping into their creativity, into their talents, it's just time to, just go full forth and just deliver yourself.
Absolutely.
I definitely want to get into your journey because I'm very intrigued by this new genre. You've managed to like fuse hip hop and Afrobeats together into like a Afro hop kind of genre.
Okay.
And I want to know more about that. Like, what's inspired your sound? How did that come together?
Yeah, okay, we can talk about it. Firstly, let me just say that I'm not the only person doing Afrobeats and rapping on Afrobeats. So like people like Ice Prince, who's a massive inspiration of mine and someone I grew up listening to, he does stuff like that too. But it's like, I guess Afro hop, it's like me being my authentic self.
Right.
Because I grew up on hip hop. I like when I got into music at the age of, when I fell in love with music, the first thing I fell in love with was hip hop. And back then hip hop was cool. I remember I used to listen to people like Biggie, Tupac, Foxy Brown, Lauryn Hill. Yeah, I was raised on some really good rappers. But then as time went on and I came to London, because I grew up in Surrey, so like...
I was going to ask, you have a slight twang.
Yeah.
There's a slight accent there. I was going to ask that.
Everyone always says like you're from Birmingham or something. No, I grew up in Surrey, which is, I don't know if you know, it's just outside, it's outside London anyway. So I grew up like, it was very like, I don't know, like I grew up with white people. Like, literally like my family was I remember like when I was in school, I was the only black person in my school.
I can identify that. I was raised in Brighton, so
there you go.
Limited black people.
There you go. So when I came to London for university and I discovered Afrobeats, then at that time I think maybe my relationship with hip hop, I was kind of falling out of love with it because it was changing so much, and I fell in love with Afrobeats. And when I started making music, I remember like I wanted to do hip-hop over Afrobeats, and I went through this period where people would be like, no, you need to speak pidgin. Then I try and do that, even though it wasn't so natural to me.
Yeah.
Then people would be like, oh, you need to sing. And over time, I just reached a point where I was so confused, and then I just said, you know what, I'm just going to write the music that I want to write and make the music the way I want to make it. And somehow, this sound,
the Afro hop,
I
love how that sounds.
Yeah, somehow that sound has come across. So that's it.
And how are you enjoying? Like you said, you've begun to merge those two personalities in essence together.
Yeah.
Have you found that creating music has become much easier? You don't really have to force or think too hard about what it is you're creating. You're just kind of delivering it.
Yes, absolutely. It's more like I'm just being myself and just doing what I'm doing and what I'm supposed to do. So that's my microphone, just making sure everything's okay.
So how long in essence have you been making music for? Because I know that you've started to really push it over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's right.
Has it been something you've been doing from the age of, from like 2 years old, I had a pen in my hand, or how did it all start?
I did. I think I could say like from 14 or 15, that was really when I started writing a lot of music that I was working on. I'm sorry. But releasing music was only since 2015, and even then it was just like, let me just put out music that I enjoy and see what happens. I would say, like you said, probably like going for it and pushing since 2018.
Amazing.
So yeah.
And how are people responding to your sound? Have you found it quite easy to, release your music?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm quite fortunate. It's quite funny actually, because like everything about you know, releasing music, I've had to learn.
Right.
I've had to learn myself because I never had, like, I wasn't around musicians. I never really had anyone show me how to go about it. I still don't, to be honest.
Like, are you doing everything yourself in terms of producing,
yeah.
marketing?
Listen, I'm my sponsor.
Wow.
I write my own tracks.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I executive produce my own sound. I don't produce, but I put everything together. So all my releases, I project manage. So in terms of, but now I'm starting, you know, the team's coming together a little bit. But, you know, from the very beginning, it's just me just trying to figure it out. And it was only like, I think, like last year, I realized, you know, you get stats from all this. When you drop your music, you get all the stats. And
yeah.
at first, I wasn't even checking, because that's why it's good to do what you love.
Yeah,
and do
it's
things
just
from the
driven
heart.
from
Because
passion, really.
Exactly. And I only realized, I think it was around 2018, I went back and looked at some stats, and I was like, damn.
All these
like,
people are listening to you?
No one was listening to me.
No one was listening?
Nobody. Like, I didn't even
really.
I
No one, are you being dramatic or literally zero?
Maybe like 4. You know what I mean?
Those 4 people need to feel appreciated for investing in your sound.
Yeah, I was like, but I didn't notice until you know, I think like 2018, and I've been dropping music since 2015. I was like, thank God, like I never saw this. But in 2018, I like to think that things changed for me, because I dropped Love No Go Die, which was I think well received.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Joy Dada in 2019, March last year,
yeah.
And that was good because that got a lot of national play on the radios. On the TVs, they got a lot of love, and
Amazing.
it was a good song produced by Ayo Beats,
yeah.
and featuring Como, and that song just, yeah, I think it helped people realize, understand
you, yeah.
me, receive me, and just actually be like, okay, well, who is she?
And what is she doing? Like, what can we expect from her? Because I feel like you're finally like stabilizing your identity in terms of your sound. Like when we play your music, we know what we're gonna hear.
Absolutely.
Even though at first we didn't really understand the whole fusion, but now it's like consistent. We understand it.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask: has it been quite difficult to get yourself on radio? Like with the fact that you're having to be so full on in terms of making the music, packaging it, and putting it out. In terms of actually getting it heard and shared around, like what are some of the struggles around that?
Promotion is key, right? And that's very, very important. And that's another thing that I had to learn as well. And I must say, like, full credit to working with people like Ayo Beats, who's been in this industry and, you know, for a minute, and he kind of showed me the ropes in terms of, in fact, he put me in touch with the PR company that handled the PR for Joy Dada, 10 Letter PR. So shout out to 10 Letter, they did a really good job. And, you know, that's one thing, like a lot of UK Afrobeats artists, if I could offer a word of advice, if I may, you know, which is what I was doing for the first few years of my, you know, in the industry. And I know it's the kind of thing that people probably wouldn't tell you, but I don't mind sharing because we all need to learn and we all need to grow. When you start, you know, a lot of people just release their tracks on their social media and they beg their friends to share it and blah, blah, blah. And they try and do all these dance videos and then that's the end of it. But, you know, you could do that, which is what I was doing. But then when I did use a PR firm, you know, yes, it costs a bit more, but these are people who get your music in the emails of the TV stations, the DJs, the radio stations, and then at least if they like it, they'll play it. If they don't like it, there's nothing you can do about it. But at least the right people are hearing your songs, not just your circle. And that's, you know, like, you know, I never had a song, but my song was played. Joy Dada was banged on Capital Extra, playlisted by a lot of radio stations, and then I saw myself the effect of PR.
In essence, you're saying to invest in yourself and to research.
Absolutely, invest in yourself. You know, if you're an artist and you're not a promoter, don't try and be a promoter.
Right.
If you don't have those connections, you might have to pay for it, but in the long run, it's worth it.
And is there anything you would say in terms of not having the resources in the beginning, let's say, to invest in PR? What are other ways of, you know, making sure that your music is being heard by the right people? And how do you kind of deal with the fact that some people might not like your music? How do you kind of go back to the drawing board and refine your sound?
Do you know what? Thank you. Because I remember like being in that position myself like a couple of years ago when I had like, because luckily for me, I always started making, I started actually releasing my first single that I dropped, Shigege, I made in Nigeria. So I've always had a really good base in Nigeria.
Right.
I have a good fan base in Nigeria. I have a good producers. I have a good network of people in Nigeria that relationships I've cultivated throughout the years. And it really helped, like especially doing Afrobeats, that my first single, in fact, I think until Joe Dada, all my singles were recorded in Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Die. Yeah, until Joe Dada that I did with Ayub Beats, we did that here in the UK. Even Pepper Pear, my last single, was recorded in Nigeria.
We're going to get into that again.
We're going to get to that. And one of the things that I found is when I go to Nigeria was that I could immerse myself in the source of Afrobeats, you know? And that's very, very
the whole
important.
Culture, the feel, the sound.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point that even to get my... people always take the piss out of me when I speak pidgin. You know, they say it's not great because of my accent or whatever, but that's their business.
Yeah,
so,
at least I can
speak
it, you know, I'm trying.
At least I'm trying at you, you know. But the people will always tell you what their opinion is. For me, true musical freedom came when I just realized that, you know, there was one time people said you didn't start singing, so I started. I did songs like Love No Good Die, where I was singing the chorus more, where really and truly I could have brought someone else in to sing, and I could have focused on my rapping.
And that's the thing, because you come in with your idea of your identity, and it's like you kind of get molded into what people want.
Exactly, and this is what I wanted to, you know, I think you asked me what would I say to people. People don't like your music. Listen, you will never please everybody. You will never please everybody. There will always be, you could be the top artist, you could be Drake. You know, Drake, when I did a concert the other day, and he was booed because he wasn't, who was the artist that people wanted.
Artist,
exactly. So you can't please everybody. So just be authentic, be yourself, make music that you're proud of.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's get into your current single, Pepper featuring Pepper Dazzy.
Yeah.
Pepper Pear to me sounds like pepper. I don't know
if chilies. People know when I talk about that song, we use the chili emoji. Yeah, that just means extra hot.
Fire.
Yeah.
And how did that song, like, how was it curated?
So Pepper Pear is actually, I mean, I love that track. It's such a vibe because it's a freestyle.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole song from top to bottom. So I'd got into Nigeria when did I do that song? That was quite this year, like, I can't remember what month. I've been to Nigeria quite a few times this year, but I went to Nigeria and not with the intention of doing that song.
Okay.
I actually was trying to do a video for a song I have with Ice Prince that we've actually now recorded. It's still not out. It'll probably be on my EP.
Ooh, exciting. We just got a bit of exclusive, that one.
So I was trying to get the video for that done, but Ice wasn't in town. And then he was not well. So when I got into Nigeria, Pepper Nazi is a friend of mine. And the very next day I had an interview. And he came with me. Pepper Nazi was like, we just spent time together. And he took me for dinner. And then he was like, you know what, Jay, we need to work together. We need to work together. And
you guys just hit off and created the song?
Literally. And like literally, I think 2 nights later, he was in my apartment and we were making the track.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming to join us here today.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. Welcome back to the TMS show. That was just Joe Dada with the artist herself, Jaye Moni.
Yeah.
Like I was just saying, that looked like it was a fun video to shoot.
It was. We had a good time. That video, I think it was a day shoot. So one day, started in the morning. The morning was mainly me. And then the guys came, Ayub Beats, who was just in the country, because Ayub Beats does not live in the UK. He lives in Oman, I think, or Dubai or somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he lives in Oman. So he was in the country at the time, and Coma was about. So they came in the evening, and then that scene that you just saw was just like a club scene.
Right.
And we were really turning up. We were having a good time. Just good vibes all around. And
amazing.
In the video.
Amazing. So before we play your latest song and have the people follow you, because I am very excited. I know you said that you're not the only person that has merged the Afrobeat sound with hip hop.
Yeah.
But it's very exciting for me to see a female so consistently and passionately, push that forward.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask more about your experience as a woman within the industry. Like, have you found it to be quite challenging?
Yeah. A lot. People don't take you seriously. I think people take you less seriously. There's situations that I've been in so many times, and I've thought to myself, wow, if I was a man, will I be going through the same thing? It's hard to tell because I'm not a man, but
But I'm sure you see men in the industry, just like you can almost measure that it's not the same respect.
Yeah, I feel that way. And it's funny because when I was in Nigeria, I don't think it was last year, but maybe the year before or early last year, I had the chance to meet one of the female rappers just out and about. I think I was in a bar, and she was there. Her name is I grew up kind of studying when I decided, like, yo, I want to rap and I want to do an Afrobeats. And so obviously my nature is to go and find out what other females are doing it, what are they talking about, how are they rapping, and try and learn from them if I can. And I remember at the time there was two that really, Sasha, do you remember Sasha?
No.
So Sasha is old school, like she was one of the first females to really do it. And then there's Eva Alodia, and really and truly, like, none of them really rap. Okay, Eva dropped the track last week, it's fire, but she has been at the game for like a few years, hasn't she? Yeah. And there's really no, even like Cynthia Morgan, who was popping a few years ago, she's gone. Down, it's like very, very few top female artists in Afrobeats and rappers. I can't even
almost
name
non-existent.
Exactly.
There's no one that we can say is
let's say in Afrobeats. But at least hip hop, we have the Cardi B's, we have the Nicki Minaj, and that's my goal. Like, I just feel like if I can, by the time I finish, if more females could be like, well, if Jay could do it, why not me, right? That's my goal. If I could, because there's so much talent out there, you know, and a lot of girls, they can rap, but they'll probably go and do something else because they don't have enough, maybe role models. I don't consider myself a role model. I'm just a girl like following. Bless you, sis.
Yeah,
sorry.
my eyes are watering and everything.
Aww.
But I would definitely say that you're an influencer. You've created a lane for yourself and you're driving full force.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just doing what I love and enjoying it at the process. And it's not always easy, but I keep going. That's the thing. I'm always coming back, you know, and with music because I love creating music. And I think now over the years I start to see that people now listen, they accept. And more than anything, you know, they actually, a lot of guys as well. What I love is like in the respect of my peers, like other musicians as well. And it's nice to be like, okay, they actually rate me as a rapper, you know, and as a songwriter, as an artist.
I'm trying so hard.
There's some water.
My cold show.
Oh.
The weather's been changing so much and I've just managed to catch a little bit of a cold. So I wanted to get a little bit more into Pepper Pear.
Pepper Pear, okay.
What is your vision for this song? Like, has it hit the benchmark for what you want to achieve?
No. To be honest, and that's been my fault. To be honest, I made that track, literally, for making that track in my apartment. By the way, that track was produced by...
In your apartment?
Yeah, in Lagos.
Oh, wow.
In Nigeria, so...
Is it in the studio?
No, like in Nigeria, they come their equipment.
Excuse me.
The producers bring their equipment and they come to you.
Wow.
It's not like here where you're going to the studio...
Having to pay loads of money to get...
And in fact, I love it because you pay for the song, not per hour.
Right.
Like, things work a little bit different out there. But yeah, like... you know, and we started, it was produced by a guy called Ostino Beats, who does a lot of work for Ice Prince. And actually, Ostino was someone who actually contacted me on Instagram like two years before we even met. And he was like, yo, I love your music, blah, blah, blah. And so he was just starting out and he's kind of now become a big shot producer back home. So it was really nice, like we'd been friends, but we hadn't had a chance to work together. So we got together in the studio and we were making the track, like freestyling, da-da-da-da. And then I was like, oh, let me call Pepper Nazi. It was 2 a.m. So I called Pepper Nazi. And I was
2 a.m.?
Yeah.
No way.
It was 2 a.m. And I called Pep. I was like, Pep, I got a producer here. He's made a beat. Do you want to come through? He was like, Moni, look at the time. Why didn't you tell us this morning?
Sleeps 2 a.m. is like really 2 p.m.
Yeah,
like everyone's still up.
But nobody really wanted to travel unless you're going out. You know what I mean? You don't really want to be.
Well, so.
I was like, bro, I'll send my driver. Just please. He was like, for you, Sha. So he got ready and he came through. And even when he heard the track, he was like, nah, let's find another beat. And I was like, no, bro, this is the one. And he literally took the mic, he sat down and he freestyled his whole verse. One take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I was like, wow.
I'm sure that was inspiring for you as well.
Yeah, and then I came back and I freestyled that. Oh, you know, risk it now. Coming through the bird. The whole song was a freestyle.
That is amazing.
Yeah, but just to see him freestyle.
Raw your talent is, like, that is amazing to hear.
So I love that. It was like, what I like to say, it was like almost like maybe Biggie and Lil Kim, obviously there's a legends, but it was like that vibe in Afrobeats because we're just rapping, but we're bringing that African sound out as well. So,
amazing. So, what can we look forward from you in 2020 outside of this single? What else are you working on?
I feel like this is going to be a big year for me, guys. So pay attention to my journey, please. I said, I remember last year, a lot of people were saying to me, this is going to be your year. And I was like, really? Really?
Sure.
Like in my heart, it didn't feel like it. But then Joy Dada happened. But this year is my year, guys.
We believe you. We definitely believe
now
you.
I'm telling you, last year people were telling me this year. I'm just
telling them,
people, hey, I'm Jaye Moni. This is my year.
I love that. Well, with that being said, let us know where we can follow you on the socials and definitely also introduce your latest single.
Okay. Make sure you follow me on @JKnows on Instagram and Twitter. And my latest single, Pepper Pear, produced by Ostino Beats and featuring Pepper Nazi, is about to be played, I guess.
Love it.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you for coming.
Love.